All right, Chiefs, Bengals, who will win? Very interesting stuff. If you haven't seen my first video talking about the other side of the ball, definitely check that out. It's on this channel. But anyways, let's get to Joe Burrow. Let's get to the Chiefs offense. Will they score enough points to win in this one? Well, first, let's look at the PFF grades for specific positional categories. You have, interestingly, you have the number 1 and 2 passing attack in this game, according to PFF passing grades. Bengals 1 and Chiefs 2, and that's just passing. That's just quarterbacks, not receivers. But the receivers have been great for Cincinnati as well. 6th best in football versus the 4th best coverage unit, according to PFF. Although, I have to say, hasn't always played like it, and we'll get into why it hasn't always played like it in just a second. Definitely a glaring weakness is going to be the pass rush versus the pass blocking. Who is going to block Chris Jones in this one is just a question. And listen, part of me wants to sit here and say, we said that last week, and it didn't matter. So why are we going to freak out this week? That's maybe fair, but at the same time, maybe the Bills just weren't that good. Like, maybe the Bengals were able to succeed there. It's still a concern. It is. It's not quite as big of a concern because I just saw what they did to Buffalo, who still rushed the passer well, even without Von Miller. But not quite as a concern, but it's a different animal now. Chris Jones, the interior guy, it's a different situation. As for the running game, again, run blocking was great last week. Will it continue? I don't know. 24th best in football on the year, going up against the 18th best run defense. Kind of a question mark there for me. I don't know what to expect really with this offensive line in general, which seemingly should be terrible, but it's actually playing its best football right now. Let's look at the numbers the last time these two teams played. This was earlier on in the season. This is week 13, where you see Joe Burrow had a very impressive day. 31 attempts, 286 yards, so nearly 10 yards per attempt. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Samaje Perine, they were able to run the ball effectively. He had 106 yards in 5 carries. There was no Joe Mixon in that day. Did not matter. They were able to still run the ball effectively. But again, different offensive line out there now, so who knows what'll happen. The receiving, Jamar Chase, again, Jamar Chase really constantly dominant against any team he plays, really, but definitely against the Chiefs. He's been a key reason why they keep beating the Chiefs. Tyler Boyd had some yards here as well. T. Higgins, just 35 yards, but I thought he had some big catches in it, so we'll get more into that in a second. So again, it's the big 3 with Chase, Boyd, and Higgins. Those are the guys that typically are the main guys who can come through. Obviously, Hayden Hurst definitely gets some catches in there as well. But let's go over to this chart. This is going to be the PFF grades for every single player who played in that game. I think the main thing I think is worth noting is that, a lot of the players who were performed poorly didn't get a lot of snaps. Most players performed well in this one for Cincinnati. They didn't really have a weakness. Ted Karras, the center, was the guy with the lowest grade in this one, but even that was 59.1. A lot of good grades here. It was really, everyone performed well, but maybe that's a potential concern, as will some of these backup offensive linemen perform worse? That's a question, especially because you look at the other side of the ball. You look at the Chiefs. Chris Jones was by far and away the best player on that Chiefs defense, by far and away. He had a 86.3 grade. He was the highest graded player on the field when he was on the field. No Bengal player on offense had a higher grade than him. No Chiefs player had a grade even close to him. They're going to have to figure something out how to stop him. That's just the reality of the situation. But also, I think the other thing worth noting is that a lot of guys did not have very good grades here for Cincinnati. Kind of like I said, the worst player for Cincinnati had a 59.1 grade. The Chiefs only had 7 players with a higher grade than that. The other, 9 through 18 were worse. Nick Bolton at the bottom of the list. He's a very good linebacker, but they were able to pick on him a little bit. What went wrong? We really have to watch the tape to see exactly. Something like this is what they did. This is what Cincinnati is going to do. This is the issue. This is what Kansas City can't seem to figure out. If they play man coverage, Jamar Chase just torches them. But the issue is they're not that good in zone coverage. They're really not. And that's kind of why Cincinnati is I think it's a good matchup for Cincinnati on both sides of the ball. You see the route on the screen, just trying to get into a gap in coverage. If you've watched this channel, you've seen this route a billion times. This is football 101. This is as simple as it gets. However, when Burrow takes the snap, you're going to see that a gap is emerging, right? There is a window for Burrow to make this throw. He has to time it well, but let's be honest, he's Joe Burrow. He's going to time it well. Watch as he puts it right on the money, and they're able to really easily pick up a first down right there. And that's just kind of the issue with Kansas City. It almost feels like, do you want to lose slowly or do you want to lose quickly? That feels like the main thing. Because like something like this is another one where, okay, you're playing 2 safeties deep, cover 2 zone, trying to make sure you don't give up a touchdown on this play, right? That's the goal. But you have a route that's going to try and get into a gap in coverage. Again, someone just has to pick up this route. However, when Burrow takes the snap, you're going to see that at this point, nobody picks it up. There's a window to make this throw. Yes, it's not the biggest window in the world, but you're going up against Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is going to hit these windows consistently. Again, that's what he does, and they're able to pick up not a touchdown, but they got the ball to the 5-yard line with a great play by Tyler Boyd, who can make those plays consistently, and they're going to consistently do that if you consistently play these zone coverages and aren't prepared to stop guys over the middle. So, okay, what if you do something like this then? Okay, you can't blitz them because then you're leaving Jamar Chase one-on-one on the outside. Don't want to do that. So you got to play 2 safeties deep. But what about a cover 2 man, right? That's an option on the table. Well, but then you have to worry about this. Like, who's going to cover T. Higgins in this situation just running a slant route? Watch as Burrow takes the snap, and you're going to see that right here, Higgins does a great job of getting the inside leverage. And again, it's not bad coverage. Like, that's kind of the issue I think that you're seeing with some of these plays. Is like, it's not like this is a bad play by Cincinnati. Excuse me, not Cincinnati. Kansas City is obviously what I meant to say. Obviously not a bad play by either of them. But this is Joshua Williams, who I think feels like he's all over Higgins. However, Burrow, again, puts it right where he needs to. Higgins is able to make the grab, and find a way to get into the end zone for a touchdown. And it's like, if you think that these guys can't do this consistently, you haven't been watching Bengals football. The Bengals, the reality is, it's less of a Chiefs thing and more of a, this is why the talent on the Cincinnati Bengals is just so unstoppable, and it's why the Jamar Chase pick and the T. Higgins pick were just so great to build this team of getting 2 fantastic outside receivers, one of them being one of the top receivers in football, and T. Higgins is a true #1 receiver. I really believe that. Kind of gets overshadowed, but he's great. And then Tyler Boyd's really good and can work over the middle. Hayden Hurst is really good and can work over the middle. It's just a really difficult team to stop. Honestly, in that first game, the only time the Bengals lost is when they beat themselves. Something like this, again, it's a man coverage play here. They're going single safety deep, but then the Bengals can just run like this little rub route. I mean, look at when Joe Burrow takes a snap, he looks down the field, and look at how open this gets. Now, this throw ends up getting dropped, and that means that they weren't able to get a touchdown. Tyler Boyd uncharacteristically dropped it, and so because of that, they settled for a field goal. So that took 4 points off the board, but like to no credit of Kansas City, and that's just a lucky break. And again, it's football. You'll get some lucky breaks, but they really weren't able to stop the Bengals at all. The only way you could really think about how they could maybe stop the Bengals this time, I'm thinking, is does Chris Jones wreak havoc on the offensive line that is more banged up? That's an option. Or do they run the ball too much? The Bengals should probably not run the ball at all in this game, realistically. Passing game is definitely what you want to do. Obviously, I'm exaggerating. You got to run the ball some. Your offensive line will die if you don't. But, definitely pass the ball as much as possible. Kind of the way maybe you could get a victory is by the Bengals run the ball a bit too much, and Chris Jones can make some plays, and then you outscore them on the other side of the ball. That's probably the way to do it. But my predictions time, I'm predicting this. I believe this is my highest points per drive prediction I've said in this postseason, which is the Chiefs' defense points per drive on the season has been a fine 2.11. That's not bad. It's not terrible or anything like that, but it's not great either. It is the worst defense still in the, still having a chance to win a Super Bowl at this point. Bengals offense, 2.48 points per drive on the season. It has been very good. It's not quite as good as the Chiefs' offense on the season, but it has been very good. In Week 13, they just went off. 27 points in 7 drives. Weird game with only the 7 drives, but 3.86 points per drive. Well, I doubt that will happen again. I think they're going to have a good day. I'm predicting 3.3 points per drive in this one. I think, though, I don't see how the Chiefs stop them. I really don't. The Chiefs have tried everything to stop this Bengals offense, and they haven't successfully done it. I don't see why now is going to be any different. I'm projecting 30 points in a 9-drive game. Is that enough to beat the Chiefs? Well, I say yes. I have my final score, Bengals 30, Chiefs 23. Again, like the Chiefs, think the Chiefs are very good, but it's just like, I don't know. I can't pick the Chiefs now until I've seen them beat the Bengals. I can't, it feels like it's one of those situations where until they show me they can do it, I'm not going to predict them to do it. I think the Bengals are very good. I like this Bengals team a lot, and I think they match up well. It's both. I think they're more talented at this point, especially with the Mahomes injury. But even without the Mahomes injury, I think they were more talented, to be honest, the more I look into it. And I think that they match up well against Kansas City. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy to think they are healthier than the Chiefs right now. They are, I think, better than the Chiefs, and they match up better. And yet they still, the line started off with the Bengals as underdogs, although that has now shifted. Either way, though, should be an awesome game. I can't wait for this one. I can't wait for either of these games. Football is great. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.